Let's work on putting our statistical questions interactive notebook page together. So I began by cutting out the rhombus or the diamond out of my blue paper, and we went ahead and folded it, and then we were going to take and glue it here on page 11, but that should be page 9 in our interactive binders. We also have statistical questions written on the top. Feel free to pause the video as we go along if you need to stop and do each of the steps. Now that my blue paper is glued on, we're going to continue by putting a cut on it and making sure that that's all set up and ready to go. I'm going to go to my green folder, and in my green folder I'm going to find a piece of paper that looks like that, and I'm also going to get out 2 of the envelopes. Okay, with this piece of paper, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out these 4 rectangles here, okay? And I'm also going to go ahead and cut out these 3 pieces of information around here. Now that those pieces are cut, we are going to glue some of them down. So the first thing we're going to glue down is a piece that says we ask statistical questions when we want to know something about a group or a category of people or things. Answers can be numerical or categorical. So that means that we might collect numbers, for instance. So we might ask someone their shoe size or their age or how many siblings they have. That would be a number. It also can be a category. So for example, we might ask someone to name their favorite movie or their favorite color, or something that's not a number, but it fits into a category. After we collect that information and we get lots of answers, then we can graph that information, which we call data. It can be organized into a table or a graph. And as we go along in our unit, we're going to learn about some different types of graphs. You may already know, like bar graph or a dot plot or a histogram or a pie graph. There's lots of different ways that information can be organized and displayed. So a statistical question, we want to know if we want to collect information, and it's going to have lots of answers. Okay. The last thing we're going to glue down is that tables and graphs help us to analyze the data and use measures of center and variability to draw conclusions. So these questions, these statistical questions that we're asking, are variable. What that means is there can be lots of different answers, and those answers might be different depending on the group of people that we ask. Okay, so we can take that information and then we can analyze it. So we can figure out trends and patterns and the biggest number and the smallest number, and we can come up with some different ideas about that set of numbers. So we need to get our information here into our foldable to decide what is statistical and what is not statistical. So we have these pieces of information down here. A statistical question is one that generates a variety of answers over a population. So I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to get many answers, not just one. So I'm going to collect all that information and those answers, and we call that data, or some people say data or data. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to put the glue on the back of that, and we are going to put that in here. Then we're going to take and glue in non-statistical questions. They are those with only one answer. And we'll go ahead and we'll glue that down here. Now we need to decide which question is statistical and has lots of answers, and which one is not statistical and only has one answer. So if we look at these 2 questions we have here, how old are all the students in my school, and how old am I? We want to figure out which one is statistical, meaning it has lots of answers. Well, if we ask how old am I, you as a 6th grader probably go thinking, well, I'm 11 or I'm 12 or something around there. I'm thinking I'm a little bit older than that. So I would get one answer for that question. If we ask how old are all the students in my school, we're saying all the students. So that means all the fourth graders and all the fifth graders and all the sixth graders. So we would have to go around to each teacher's classroom and ask how old each student is in that classroom. So when doing that, we are going to get lots of answers. So therefore, we're going to put this question over here. How old are all of the students in my school? And you're going to note that the key word all helps us to figure out that we are asking many people. Now, the question, how old am I? Your age is one number. You can't be 12 and 14 and 18 all at the same time. You are 11 or 12 or however old you are, okay? So we get one answer for that question. Oops, let's not put it upside down. So therefore, a little crooked, but you get the idea. How old am I? Sorry guys, my camera's going a little out of focus here. We'll get better with this as we go along. All right, now a few other key words that we could add here that we might look for. The word average. If I say, what is the average? That might tell us that we're asking a lot of people. If we ask each person, that's a key word telling me we might ask a lot of people. If I say, what about every person in the school or in the room or in the building? And one other word you might hear is typical. How old is the typical sixth grade student? Okay, or what is the typical height of the basketball player? So something like that. All right, so now we know that a statistical question has many, many answers. A non-statistical question only has one answer. Okay, statistical questions can be used to put all the answers into a group, which we call data, and then we're going to take that data and we are going to organize it, and we can put it into a table or into a graph of some sort, and we can show trends or patterns. Okay, helps us to analyze it. Now the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to flip your paper over onto the back side, and you have two envelopes. These envelopes, we're going to actually put glue on the front side of them, where we normally put an address, and we are going to glue them down to the back. I'll put some more glue here, glue them down to the back here. And what we're going to do is on the top, we're going to write examples on the first one, and on the bottom one, we can write non-examples, because when we're in class, we're going to actually go ahead and put some examples that have lots of answers and some non-examples of statistical questions that only have one question. Okay, so again, we're just going to put some glue on the front of this. Okay, and we're going to glue the front of the envelope to, got a hair in there, that's disgusting. Sorry about that, guys. So we're going to put some glue on here, and we are going to go ahead and glue one down, and then we're going to glue the other one down so that when we get to our activity in class, we can go ahead and put all of our examples right in here. Okay, and then I'll glue this one as well.